your YouTube content creator and your social media influencer. And we go back now to our topics in chemistry. Topics meaning saying we gonna talk about a whole lot of topics. Okay, more topics or various topics. Okay, so a while ago I discussed already the elements, atomic mass, atomic weight. Now it's about time to discuss also the molar mass. Okay, molar mass, okay, then slash molecular weight, okay, and then slash molecular mass, okay. So it's totally the same, okay, when these terminologies are being interchanged somewhere along the way in different problem solvings in the future for examination, like that, or whatever, okay? Molar mass, molecular weight, molecular mass, okay? So we gotta connect this to the formula which is equal to the molecular weight like this, or molar mass, okay, or okay, and then molecular mass also is equal to the mass itself, meaning the regular mass, okay? Then over the small letter n, which is the number of moles, okay? Okay. Now, in here mga palangga, we need to investigate terminology to terminology. So here you have the mole. So a mole, okay? The mole is the basic unit of the amount of the substance. Of the amount of the substance, okay? Of a substance, okay? Okay, like that. Okay, mga palangga. So we need to say it is a unit of the amount of the substance. And that is a mole, okay? Okay. What is a molecule? Okay, the molecule. So, and by the way, before going to the molecule, we need to say 1 mole is equal to 6.023 times 10 to the 23. Okay? Avogadro number. Okay, Avogadro number. Okay, like that. Okay? And then molecule. What is a molecule? Okay? A molecule is a larger unit than mole, or compared to the mole, but composed or joined together with several atoms. Okay? Combined with 2 or more atoms. Okay? Just write down in a blank sheet of paper. You know, I'm tired of writing the board. Okay? But anyhow, I will just write for the purpose of this discussion. So, compose. Actually, there's a lot of tools to this: compose, combine, adjoin, like that, chemically combine with 2 or more atoms. So your clue only is there will be a combination of several atoms, multiple atoms, or 2 or more atoms. That's molecules. Okay? Composed of 2 or more atoms. Okay, ganan. Okay. What is an atom? Okay. Okay, the atom is the tiniest or the smallest particle of the nucleus. Okay, the smallest and tiniest particle of the nucleus. So that is an atom. Okay, and then an atom composed of 2 or more particles. Okay, and what are those particles? These are elementary particles, the neutrons, the protons, and the electrons. Okay? So we need to say atoms is composed of 2 or more or multiple of particle. Okay? Because atom is the tiniest, okay, and the smallest particle. Okay? You get the point? So when you talk about atoms, you need to connect the atomic theory. Okay, the atomic theory of Mr. John Dalton and the Niels Bohr theory. Okay, you get the point? It's gonna be like that. Okay, so atom, molecule, and the mole. Okay, now it's very clear to you guys that the mole and then the mass. The mass is very easy, right? Okay, Mass. Mass is equals to the density times the volume, right? And also, mass is equals to the weight over the acceleration to gravity, right? There's a lot of formulas of mass also, right? And then mass is also equal to force times the area. Okay? What else? There's a lot, guys. Mass is equals to heat over specific heat capacity times the change in temperature. Mass is equals to the heat over the specific heat capacity times the change in temperature. Okay, like that. What else? There's a lot. Okay? So therefore, limit only to 4 as of this moment in time. Okay? Mass, equation number 1, density times, okay, the volume. But I have to add another one, which is in terms of the kinetic energy. So mass is equals to, kinetic energy over 1/2 v squared. Okay, so mass is equals to v squared and then 1/2, okay, kinetic energy, right? Oh, diba? And then also mass is equals to, potential energy over the acceleration due to gravity times the height. So there are 6 basic common formulas of the mass. And there's also another one from Albert Einstein theory of relativity. It's going to be mass is equals to the energy over the c squared. Okay, how many? So maximize the formula of the mass. And there's also masses we can compute through the percentage by mass, okay, and then also masses through the molality, okay, because the molality involves mass in the denominator, which is the kilogram. So you can manipulate there. If you want, if there's a concentration given in terms of molar, then you can also compute the mass. Okay, mga palangka. And also, this one also, so too much. Nakakaloka. Okay, mass is equals to this basic foundation, guys, really. Okay, if you want this, this will be useful to pass future examinations, especially engineering board examination. Okay, like that. Okay, mga palangga kong hitan. Okay, ganan. So I have equation 1, equation 2, equation 3, equation 4, equation 5, equation 6, equation 7, equation 8. Okay? And there's a lot also coming from the, from the PV and RT. You can still also compute for mass there, derive. Okay, but not necessarily. Okay? So mass is equal to density times volume. Mass is equal to weight over the acceleration due to gravity. Mass is equal to force over the acceleration in the second law of Isaac Newton. Okay, equation number 4, mass is equal to Q over specific capacity, then the change in temperature. This is heat energy changes through temperature change. Okay, mass is equal to the kinetic energy over 1/2 v squared. Okay, motion. Okay, motion. Okay, mass is equal to potential energy over acceleration due to gravity times the height. Mass is equal to the energy of an object over the speed of light raised to the power 2, or velocity raised to the power 2. Okay, in which the speed of light is 3 times 10 to the 8 meter per second. Okay, 3 times 10 exponential to the 8 meter per second. That's the standard speed of light. We have also the mass is equal to the number of moles and the molecular weight, which is very common in stoichiometric relationship in chemical calculations. Okay, calculations 1 and 2, something like that. Okay, so we have 8. Okay, that's only major, minor pa. We still have a lot of that in the unit operations. Okay, in the overall material balance. Like that, okay, input is equal to output, recovery, like that, blah, 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 so and so. Okay, get the point? Ako papasang guys ha, take that and put that in a blank sheet of paper. But the most common here is the kinetic energy, mass in terms of kinetic energy, mass in terms of potential energy, mass in terms of the molecular weight, and mass in terms of the density, and mass in terms of the weight and the acceleration due to gravity, and the mass in terms of the heat energy. Those are common, right? So you can manipulate somewhere along the way if you see problems like that connecting to the physical quantities involved there, okay? Like that. Now, we have the acceleration due to gravity standard. I need to introduce also the standard of acceleration due to gravity. Okay? So the difference between acceleration due to gravity and the acceleration is the symbol A. Small letter A is acceleration. Small g is acceleration due to gravity, meaning constant, which is metric system is a unit as 9.81 meter per second squared, and in terms of English unit, we have 32.2, okay, feet per second squared, like that, okay? Memorize this because I memorized this since high school, okay, and then you can bring that, also level up that in your college until graduation and until board examination, okay? Get the point? Like that. That's acceleration due to gravity. Okay. Now we go now to our main topic now. The compounds in relation to the molar mass, molecular weight, and molecular mass. Okay, mga palangga. So I need to give you an example, the two types of compounds first, before going to the details. Okay, we have, first type, we have the molecular compound. Okay, molecular compound is also known as the covalent compound. Okay, so take note mga palangga. Okay, molecular compound is also known as a covalent compound. Okay, like this. Okay, so what is your idea about covalent? Meaning there's a transfer or a share of electrons in your covalent bonding. Something like that, okay? Non-polar covalent bond and the polar covalent bond. Non-polar covalent bond, equal sharing of electrons, okay? Polar covalent bond, non-equal sharing of electrons. So, in short, the more you have unpaired electrons, the more your compounds are conductive to electricity because it is more polar, okay? Just like water. You get the point? There's so many unpaired electrons, so and so. Okay, but completely shared, that's non-polar covalent bond. So there's no issue for that. Okay, now I remember also the octet rule for that. Octet rule, the 8 valence in the outermost shell, covalent bonding. So okay, molecular compound and covalent bond. Second one is ionic compound, mga palangga. Okay, so investigate the terminology. Ionic from the word ion. Okay, meaning to say this is more on the salts, hydrolysis reaction, like the dissociation reaction to determine a weak electrolyte or a strong electrolyte. Meaning to say, if it's a strong electrolyte, it will dissociate and ionize 100% in water in aqueous solution. Okay, if you say weak electrolyte, meaning partial ionization takes place, or meaning weak dissociation of ions like that. Then two types of ions are the positive ions and the negative ions. The positively charged ions is called the cation, and the negatively charged particles are called the anion. Okay, the anion will go to the cathode. Okay, take note, the anion will go to the cathode, and then the cation will go to the anode. Okay, in your electrochemical cells by using the battery or the voltaic cell to produce electricity through chemical reaction. You get the point? Something like that. So ionic compounds, so what are those? So salts, maybe and electrolytes, right? Mga palangga. So we need to focus first molecular compound. The technique here, guys, is you need to determine, what's really the combination of this molecular compound? Oh my gosh, like that. You have to think. Okay, molecular compound, you should remember that all the time. It's gonna be metal plus non-metal. Okay, M plus NN. Meaning to say metal plus non-metal. Okay, in this category of a compound, you need to name based on the prefixes. For example, trigonal like that, tetrahedral, magalang siya. So for example, if I have NP5, you will say nitrogen pentoxide. Like that. For example, N2O5, dinitrogen pentoxide. Like that. So N2O, dinitrogen oxide. Like this. Okay? So this is for molecular compound. Okay? Meaning to say, okay, non-metal plus non-metal. Sorry, this is non-metal to non-metal because it is the naming is basing on the numbers. See, if you are listening what you're talking, you can easily correct, right? Okay, and you really understand. Okay, you cannot proceed if you cannot check properly to the next level of a discussion, right? Ganon siya kabilis. Okay, so non-metal plus non-metal. And then, if you cannot correct that, so people will say you are lutang. Okay? So you finish your speech for 1 hour or 15 minutes, then you cannot correct after 5 minutes and 10 minutes the statements coming out from your mouth or released from your mouth, then somebody will say, oh, lutang, something like that. Okay, so you should also carefully examine every statements and words that will come out in your mouth. Something like that. Okay, just like this, I discussed and I'm getting an error. Oh, by just looking immediately and I change my mind, something like, and then connect again back the theory. Okay, it's gonna be like that. So that, okay, our viewers and audiences will never call us lutang, diba, or bobo, something like that. Okay, and there's no bobo in the world. Okay, all are given complete brain cells, totally equal. Totally equal. We have the same brain cells. The only thing is just there's brain cells that could pick up very weak, and it also brain cells that could pick up very strong. Okay, like that. So IQ mental ability is not the same, but we are all having the same structures of our brain cells. Okay, to the point. So it's a matter of study and efforts, hard work, initiative, and continuous learning development through readings, research, blah blah blah, so and so. Ganon. Okay. So, may tabuan, no? So, molecular compound, nakakaloka. Okay? So, we have ionic compound, we have also metal, so sodium, sodium hydroxide, ganon. So, metal and non-metal. Sodium hydroxide. Oxygen is non-metal, hydrogen is non-metal, okay? And then, okay, nitrogen pentoxide. Itong ganina mga molecular compound to siya guys ha. Okay? Alam timanan guys. Okay, sa molecular compound. Okay, so mag-covalent kuno ta guys. Covalent bonding. Charot! Nakaloka. Diba? So palitan guys, na ako yung ani guys. Okay, metal plus non-metal sa molecular compound, no? So, may example sa mga metal plus metal. Okay, I have here, carbon plus chlorine. Okay, like that. So, it will become carbon tetrachloride, right? Okay, and then like this, balance the chemical equation. Okay, like this. Think, ganan. So, balance na siya. Carbon tetrachloride. But you have to put, this is 4, negative 4, 4. Okay, and then it's positive 4 for the chlorine. The carbon. Okay, ganon siya guys. Carbon tetrachloride. Okay? Ganon. Okay. So, molecular compound and ionic compound. Ionic compound is more on the, on the salt. Okay? Like this. Ions, dissociation, chuba-chucho. Ganon. Ay, nakakaloka. Diba? Okay, so, muna siya hitabo guys. Sa mga molecular compounds, dinitrogen pentoxide. Oh, ganon. What else? So many man guys. Uy, okay, for example, okay, we have H2S, right? Okay? So, sulfur will exist as a gas here, huh? Not a solid. Okay? Like that. What else? And then carbon monoxide. Okay, carbon dioxide. Ganon. What else? There's a lot. Okay, as long as you will add non-metal plus non-metal. Okay? Okay, non-metal plus non-metal mga palangga. What else non-metal plus non-metal? What else? Chloroform. Okay, chloroform. CCCl3, right? Okay. Now we go to the ionic compound. Okay, metal plus non-metal. Okay, for example, sodium plus chlorine. And sodium chloride. Okay, like that. So magnesium. Okay, magnesium plus, let's say, iodine, right? So become iodide, it become magnesium iodide. O, diba? So, ganon. So, it will become 2 here. Ganon. You get the point, mga palangga? So, metal plus non-metal. There's a lot, guys. And the identification is metal plus non-metal, ionic compound. Okay, non-metal plus non-metal, molecular compound or covalent compound. So, for example, guys, if I have, sige. So, if I have water, what is that? That is under molecular compound, right? Because hydrogen is non-metal and oxygen also is non-metal. That is not ionic. Okay, like that. Get the point? So if I have, for example, water, H2O, and then we use covalent bonding to understand. Covalent bonding, okay. So I have oxygen is our parent, element in a chemical bonding. So oxygen, I have 6 electrons in the outermost shell, 6 valence electrons. So, ganon. And there's also hydrogen here. Hydrogen also belong to the group 1A, so 1 electron. Just to share. Sharing the electron of the hydrogen, oxygen here, like this. Okay? Like that. Okay. So, how many unpaired electrons? 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 unpaired electrons. Okay? Or unshared electrons. So, these 4 electrons very thirsty or eager to react to metallic compound or whatever, or that's why this is very highly conductive. Okay? Like this means water polar. Okay? Okay, so polar meaning highly conductive to electricity. That's why this is the main source of electrocution. Okay, water during grounding. Okay, because there's unpaired of electrons. And the unpaired of electrons of the water will react to the electrons flow of the wire, to the path of the wire, because they need stabilization. In the stabilization, the unpaired electrons of the water needs to be stabilized, and then he will try to react and combine to the electrons flow in the wire. So that's why it will create electrocution. Get the point? Because if there's no excess electrons, then it will not react to the wire. There's no electrocution will be happening if you are standing in the water. Okay, there will be no grounding. Since water has some 4 unpaired electrons, it will react to the electrons that will flow in the wire. And it is technical definition. Okay, something like that. So that's when it will have the law of magnetism in the wire and in terms of electrons. So that's why electromagnetism. Get the point? Because electrons is our driving force to create the magnet. That's why electromagnetism. Okay? You get the point? Wala siyang natabo. Okay. So, if this polar molecule, water, will go inside our body, so there's a lot of unpaired electrons also that will react to other macromolecules or biomolecules inside our body. So, and then the oxygen also, because that's oxygen, right? And then oxygen will react there, and then, it adds also for us for proper inhalation, because oxygen is for breathing, right? And then inside our body, ganon. Not only for the coming in our smell or our nose, but also the oxygen that will go in our stomach also produces a cellular respiration of the different cells of our vital organs, because our vital organs needs oxygen to survive, because they need also proper inhalation. Not only us, also our vital organs need cellular respiration, cellular cells. Okay, the cells will not be strong without oxygen level. You get the point? And most of the times they will get that oxygen in the carbohydrates, protein, and also in the lactate. Okay, lactate. Okay, because lactate is an identification of our, leveling, if we are weak or not, then if we can survive any diseases or not. The doctor will determine the lactate level of any patient by the reading. Because if your lactate is very low, then you need a dextrose. Okay, because dextrose has an oxygen component. And then, in order for you to survive for how many months, how many days like this. Okay, so many patients lack of lactate. Okay, because they are in disease or sick. Okay, then if your lactate will increase, then by the time recovery will be happening, and then no more dextrose needed, and then by the time, so completely recovered, something like that. Now, kung a-pill day, because your disease is chronic disease or cancer, now your lactate will become slowly until it will reach zero, and you will die. Okay? So the dextrose is very important. Dextrose. This is C6H12O6. Okay? 6 atoms of carbon, 12 atoms of hydrogen. There are 6 atoms of oxygen. These 6 atoms of oxygen are very helpful for our inhalation and cellular respiration. Ganun. So, mong mga oxygen chupa-chucho. Okay. So, ano na siya guys. So, for example, if I will have compounds man na, okay, our example of compounds, a lot man good guys. So, magsugod sa mga alkaline. Okay, alkaline. Okay, alkaline, chupa-chucho. Ganon. Alkaline earth. Okay, alkaline earth. Ganon. Alkaline is only group 1A. Alkaline earth, group 2A. Don't forget the term earth. That's only the difference between group 1A and group 2B. Alkaline and alkaline earth. Ganon. Okay, then our group 7A is our halide family or halogen family. So, I must focus on the, the most basic and common, huh? Okay, we don't go to the most complex. Okay, so we have group 7A. And then, group 0. Group 0, muna siya kato mga malipalin kaayo. Okay, they are stable. Okay, they are noble gases. Helium, neon, krypton, xenon, argon, and beryllium. Okay, so these are all noble gases, unreactive gases, inert gases. So we need to say they are stable. No need to pair with other compound because of their stability. Okay? Like that. That's why they are unreactive. The more stable the compounds and elements are, the more they will never react. Okay? Like that. Okay, so group 7 mo na ito ang mga chlorine, fluorine, bromine, iodine, astatine. O, ganon. Okay? Like that. And then, alkaline katong mga kuan. Magnesium, calcium. Okay, and blah, 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 so on. So, alkaline, sodium, okay, potassium, barium. So on, so. So, let's make an example only by this. Okay, for example, I have here, so metal and non-metal. So, let's say, sodium plus chlorine. Sodium chloride. Potassium plus fluorine, okay, potassium fluoride, ganon. And then, barium and bromine, so barium bromide, ganon. And then, alkaline, you have magnesium, so magnesium chloride, ganon. So, positive 2 magnesium, so you have to put 2 here, okay? Exchange of the charge. And then we have calcium bromide. Calcium bromide, so I also 2 here, like that. Calcium bromide. And then, this group 0 will never react. Okay, let's take this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chuba-chuchu. Okay, like that. Nakakaloka. Diba? So these are all ionic compounds. Okay, take this. Okay. Sodium chloride and potassium fluoride, barium bromide, magnesium chloride, okay, and calcium bromide. Nakakaluka. And let's add also lithium iodide. Wow. Nakakaluka. Lithium iodide. Mo ba? Yes. Lithium iodide. Okay. So, anak na yun. So, determine the molecular weight, the molar mass, and the molecular mass. Okay, sodium chloride. Okay, so since we memorized already the atomic mass of sodium, so it is 23. 23 gram atom. Chlorine, 35.45 gram atom. So, pila. Add mo siya. That is your molecular weight and the molar mass. Okay? So in case that you will find difficulty in memorization, then how can you do that? If your examination is open book, then you can put that somewhere else. So it's not good also because that's already cheating. How can you do that? Okay, if you cannot memorize, so look at the periodic table in the handbook. Okay, our board examination, we are allowed to use the Chemical Engineer's Handbook by Peary. Okay, I don't know with other engineering courses. We have a very, very big Chemical Engineer's Handbook, and in the first page, the periodic table is reflected there. And then the sad part, also, only the atomic number and the mass number, the other physical properties are not mentioned. For example, electronegativity, electropositivity, atomic radii, electronegativity, ionization potential, electron affinity, the boiling point, the melting point, the freezing point, the viscosity, the density, like that. Because each element has its own physical properties, but you never put only two minimum. Okay, the other you will go to the chupa chuchu in the center, in the middle, in the last, through the indexes and the tables. Okay, like that. It take you a longer time. So better memorize the common, okay? So 23 plus 35.45 mga palangga. Okay, so your sodium chloride has a molecular weight of 58.45. And now it will become now gram mole. Okay, 58.45 gram mole. Because you add the atoms. Atoms plus atoms, it will become now a mole. Okay, so 58.45 gram mole. Okay, so while it is an element, it is gram per atom. Okay, get the point mga palangga, because it is one atom only, one element. Okay, so if compound, mahimo na siya mga moles, chuba-chuba-chub. Okay, so potassium. What is the atomic mass of potassium? 39.1 gram atom. And fluorine, mga palangga, 19 gram atom. Okay, how much? 39.1. Diba? Di na tayo masigli sa periodic table because we memorized. Okay, so 39.1 plus 19 equals to 58.1. Okay, 58.1. And then gram mole. Okay, because in the face-to-face examination, because you are not allowed to use your internet. Okay, online, Google search, so you cannot use that one. And you cannot use also the books, something like that. How can you do that? There's no choice. You have to memorize. Right? Like that, so. Barium bromide. Okay, barium, the atomic weight of barium is 132.327. Charat. Okay, dito point 132.327. Dito mga palangga. So, gram atom, like that. Okay, and that's very clear. Bromine, what is the bromine? What is the atomic mass of bromine? Okay, atomic mass of bromine is 79. Okay, 79.90. Okay, gram atom. So you have now, okay, mga palangga kung hitad, okay, 132.327, okay, plus 79.90, 212.227 is your molecular weight. 212.227 gram mole. Magnesium chloride, mga palangga, magnesium is 24 point something, 24.30. gram atom. Chlorine. Chlorine have 2 here already, mga palangga, right? Okay, so 2 times 35.45. Okay, like this. It will become, ilan na siya mga palangga. So, 2 times 35.45, 35.45 is equals to times 2 equals to plus 24.30 mga palangga. So, it's equal 95.2. Really? Oh, 95.2 gram mole. Okay. Calcium bromide. Oh, calcium is atomic weight 40.08, right? Gram atom plus bromine atomic weight 79.90. Okay, times 2. So molecular weight will be like this. Okay. So 79.90 times 2. Okay, so plus 40.08 is equals to 199.88. Oh, di ba? 199.88. 199.88 gram mole. O, ganon. Di ba, guys? Okay. Now, we have the lithium iodine. Lithium is gonna be 6.49 gram atom lithium. 6.49. Okay? Gram atom. Iodine is really 126.90 gram atom. So, pila na siya guys mga palangga. Okay. 126.90 plus 6.49. So, 133.39 your molecular weight mga palangga. Okay? Pila to eh? 133.39. Okay? Ganon. Now, if you are really confused because of point something chuba-chucho, then you have to verify in the periodic table reduction because sometimes our memory fails, right? Okay, it's gonna be like that. If you are, something wrong. But then if the choices in the examination is already there, then perfect, you got it correctly. Something like that. Okay? That is the case only if you cannot found in the choices your answer. Okay? Ano siya ang mga guys, mga compound. Okay? So what now in this explanation, what is a compound? Define what is a compound. Okay. A compound is composed of 2 or more elements bonded together. That is a compound. One element plus another element. Okay, or multiple elements bonded together, or composed of so many atoms joined together. Okay, like that. Okay? Now, what is an element? Element is the simplest form of matter. Okay, and it's also known as composed of only one atom. Okay, like that. Meaning that this boron example no boron, it's only one atom of boron. Okay? Get the point. So if I will say B2, I will say 2 atoms of boron, right? But that's only B, so 1 atom of boron. That's why the definition is it composed of only 1 atom. Okay? Like that. Get the point. That's an element. Okay? Muna siya matabo, guys. Okay. So, any questions so far? Mga palangga? Okay. Now, for example, if mag-dissociate ionization. Okay, for example, we have sodium chloride. You add that into water. Sodium chloride plus water, like that's chuba-chuchu. Now, we have the chemical reaction, hydrochloric acid plus sodium hydroxide, right? So, this portion here is hydrolysis, chemical reaction, the reactant. And then the product side will be neutralization reaction, is the reaction of acid and a base, right? HCl is a strong acid, and sodium hydroxide is a strong base. Okay, like that. Now, this is chemical reaction. Dissociation, chemical reaction is another thing. So when you add the water, this sodium chloride will dissociate into sodium positive plus chlorine negative. So this is the dissociation reaction. If you found charges in the product, it's being splitting up like that, and then there's a charges chuba-chuchu at the top of the elements, and then still it could be balanced also in the number of moles. That is dissociation chemical reaction. So we need to differentiate. Chemical reaction doesn't have charges during the final product. Okay? And then, if we have a chemical bonding also, the chemical bonding also, you will see a dot. Like this. Like that. So that is chemical bonding. Okay? So muna siya guys mga, tulura dyan na siya kabuok. Chemical bonding, chemical reaction, and chemical dissociation. And you should know how to understand each category. Okay? Because that's very important also to compute for what is being asked in the problem. Okay? The colligative property, guys, is more on the dissociation. Okay? And then the stoichiometric chemical calculation is more on chemical reaction, balanced chemical reaction. Okay? You get the point. And also the expression of concentrations. And sometimes both. Okay? Why I do that? Why I say sometimes both. Especially normality. Okay? We have to determine the equivalence of ions per mole. Oh, di ba? For example, if I have aluminum sulfate mga palangga, okay? Aluminum sulfate, okay, chupa-chuchu, okay. Aluminum sulfate, oh, di ba? So, 3. Okay. Sulfate is 2, okay? And then like this. Then when you dissociate this into water, so plus water, it will become aluminum positive 3 plus sulfate negative 3. Or negative 2, sorry. Negative 2. And they will still balance also that dissociation chemical reaction. Okay, so aluminum 2, so aluminum 2 put here. And then oxygen 4, there are 12 oxygen here. So 4 times 3, right? So for how much? 3. Now you have 2 moles of aluminum positive 3 plus 3 moles of sulfate. These 2 and 3 are what we call as the equivalence per mole. Okay? Like that. Then if you ask to find for the concentration of the sulfate, use the 3. If you ask to solve the concentration of aluminum, then use the 2. Okay? You get the point? Like that. And then 2 and 3 will be added and it will become now your Van Hoff factor. Van Hoff factor. When this can be applied? This can be applied in the colligative properties. Okay. Like that. Colligative properties, boiling point elevation, okay, freezing point depression, vapor pressure lowering, and the osmotic pressure. Something like that, okay? So total siya, 2 plus 3, ganon. So it will become 5. Sodium chloride, sodium hydroxide is only 2. Okay, 1 man ang sodium, 1 sa hydroxide. Okay, it depends on the, the subscript here. Subscript. Okay, if there's no subscript, then you are very lucky. Okay, like that. You get the point, mga palangga? Okay. So don't forget the Van Hoff factor, and the symbol for Van Hoff factor is small letter I. Okay? Ganon. Ganon siya mga palangga. Okay? So, this aluminum sulfate, why it becomes like this? Okay, I will teach you a little bit only. Okay, we have aluminum. Okay, aluminum. Aluminum. So there are 2. So, aluminum, aluminum. Nakakalot. Okay. Sulfate, there are 3. Sulfate, sulfate, sulfate. Like that. Okay. Anak siya. Okay? So, the charge of aluminum is 3, right? And the charge of sulfate is negative 2. Okay? Like that. You get the point, mga palangga? Okay. So, okay, to make it balance, mga palangga, so you have 2 aluminum. This charge will become aluminum, aluminum. And this 3 will become sulfate, sulfate, sulfate. Meaning, it is the how many times you will put, okay, by means of the charge. Okay, aluminum is positive charge, 3, right? And then sulfate, negative 2. So we have 2 aluminum because that is a reversement siya. Okay, in a compound. So you need to say aluminum plus aluminum. That's why you have aluminum 2. Okay? And this 3. This is for sulfate. And then we repeat the sulfate 3 times. Sulfate, sulfate, sulfate. And then that is sulfate times 3. Okay, this is the another discussion of just reversing the charge. Because in the chemistry, as I learned in 20 years ago, the instructor will just only say, if the charge here on the polyatomic anion sulfate, just transfer that to the side of the aluminum. But there's also another explanation that is more complete this kind of theory. Okay? You get the point? We need to say, it needs 3 sulfate to equalize the aluminum. Okay, like that. Okay? You get the point, mga palangga. Di ba? Mojin na siya may tabo. Nakakaloka. Okay, so another example. If I have sodium phosphate, di ba? Sodium phosphate, mga palangga. Phosphate is have negative 3, di ba? Polyatomic anion siya. Negative 3. So, ibungkag mo. Split. Sodium positive and phosphate negative 3. If we make a compound, it will become PNA3 and PO41. Since 1 in chemistry, same as nothing. That's why we don't put 1. Now, this is the first rule that we learn in our chemistry. Now, the other also will be like this. Okay? Sodium, ganon-ganon, chuba-chucho, positive 1. And phosphate, negative 3. Okay. Then crisscross, you need 3 sodium. Because the charge of phosphate is 3. You need 3 sodium to compensate the equality of the charges. Because this phosphate will react to sodium and siya. So ensure that the charge will react how many times the phosphate charge. Phosphate, negative 3. So that means times 3. So I have to say, sodium, sodium, sodium. Di ba makaliw siya, guys? So there are 3 sodium. Ganon. Now, ang sodium, usara naman siya. So, usara ang phosphate. Phosphate, usa. Butang nini mo, sodium 3, phosphate 1. Sodium, phosphate, masya po. Sayon siya, guys. Rather than that, tuloy-tuloy sa itong mga maisa nga, dito-dito sa bitaw. Okay? Get the point? So, muna siya ang, for me, this is the best way to explain. Okay? This one. See, no? Phosphate, it has a negative 3 charge, meaning to say it has 3 charge, meaning times 3 to compensate and to equal during the reaction. And then sodium is only 1. So it needs only 1 phosphate to react with the sodium because the charge of sodium is 1. Like this. So phosphate must be 1 phosphate or 1 phosphate. Usa ka buok. Phosphate usa. Ganon. Ang sodium kay tulumang charge sa phosphate. Sodium, sodium, sodium. So sodium 3, phosphate 1, or sodium 3 phosphate, because 1 in chemistry is just the same as nothing. Okay? So I love this second version. Okay, like this. But sad to say, I discovered the second version. I'm already a licensed chemical engineer at that time. Okay? I'm working abroad like that. My day off, I research, I read, something like that. I discovered new technique. Nakakaloka. So if I knew this pala before pa, di ba? Something like that. Okay? So a lot of things I discovered after my graduation. Okay? I was struggling. Okay? Nakakaloka. Okay. So any questions so far for the molecular compound, ionic compound, and the molecular weight, molar mass, molecular mass? Nothing? Thank you so much for watching. You can click the notification bell for some news updates of I Am a Singer, Join a Voice. You can comment, you can share, you can like, or anything you want to. Okay, thank you so much for spending your time to take a look of some of my videos. Okay, I'm very, very happy. Okay, because the reviews are still escalating to point something. Wow, point something, chuba chuchu. At least Okay, right? Okay, if you try to look on the analytics, it will like escalating the graph like that. You will be enjoying watching your analytics, how the graph works. Oh, like this, and it will drops, button, increase like that, or whatever. You can interpret your revenues through the graph. Okay, something like that. So it's very enjoyable. Okay. At the same time, you earn money. Okay? Thank you so much. Bye bye. God bless everybody.